150. Experience. Chalcedon Report, number 107, July 1974. Among the cultural motives which dominated Western man when, after 1660, the structure of Western civilization began to shift from a Christian to a humanistic basis, was experience. A new idea began to emerge, the truth of experience, which was to supplant progressively the idea of objective and absolute truth. In the Church, this meant experimental religion, priority given to experience rather than to the facts of doctrine, priority to the individual and his experience rather than to God. A modern evangelical has summed it up thus: the most important thing in the world is to experience Christ as your Saviour. Clearly, any experience cannot be more important than, for example, the Incarnation. Not even for me can it be more important without turning a cosmic religion into an egocentric concern. However wonderful or necessary my salvation may be, it cannot take priority over God and His total purpose, even in my own mind, without sin. To cite another example, in speaking a few years ago of the consequences of inflation, I cited the German monetary collapse of 1923 as one possible consequence. One man immediately objected. That's impossible. The German experience cannot be the American experience because the Germans believed in gold and distrusted paper. Americans do not believe in gold, and there can therefore be no bad results with our currency. In such thinking, the truth of experience has replaced objective reality. To cite still another example, last night an outstanding and superior Christian layman told me of a sermon he heard preached by an evangelical pastor. Experience was made so basic that the experience of love made the objective facts of a marriage license and ceremony unnecessary and superficial. This is not a new attitude. The stress on experience has made the Church, modernist and evangelical alike, antinomian, anti-law. With this stress on experience rather than God and His law word, it should not surprise us that mass evangelism, by its own statistics, leaves 95% of its supposed converts unchanged in their lives. Its audiences are largely experience mongers. The stress on experience has a related motive, a stress on quantity, on numbers. Experience is a visible thing, so is quantity. I have often heard it said that criticism of this or that mass evangelist is wrong. Think of the numbers of people he reaches. Such people assess any and all things by this same quantitative approach. How many people read him? How many people hear him? How much press does he get? By their logic, these people should have been pro-Hitler and pro-Stalin, and today should be pro-Mao and pro-Brezhnev. To stress quantity, numbers, is evidence of radical humanism, and of stupidity as well. If our faith is in man, it will show. Our criterion will be, how much appeal does one have with man? For the Orthodox Christian, the criterion of judgment is faithfulness to God. One consequence of this emphasis on quantity and experience has been the debasement of the pulpit. From 1660 to the present, the caliber of preaching has declined in content, and the emphasis has shifted from solid thought to popular appeal and entertainments. With a few exceptions, the larger the church, the weaker the content of the preaching. In politics, the consequence has been crowd-pleasing of the most blatant sort. Justice has come to mean giving the most handouts to the most people by robbing those who are the targets of envy. The logic of the emphasis on experience and quantity makes socialism or communism the natural and inevitable faith of a culture which stresses their centrality. Basic to this stress on experience and quantity or numbers is relativism. All things are made relative to man, to mass man. Truth is made relative to man, not to God. Things are important if man so regards them, not because God has established a priority. Because all things are made relative to man and man's experience, things are unimportant unless they command masses of men. God's warning against despising the day of small things, that is, small beginnings, Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10, is regularly despised by modern fools. They see a thing as good only as mass man takes to it, not because it is good in terms of God and His Word. The implications of all this is that the supreme good is man, and the more men who approve of something and experience it favourably, the closer that thing or cause is to the supreme good. The logic of total democracy is that man is the ultimate standard, law and good, and the more men there are who approve of anything, the better it must be. Humanistic culture is collapsing, however, and its elites now have turned on man. The fewer there are who appreciate an avant-garde art form, the better it must be. If the crowd man takes to it, that art form is dropped for another. The fewer there are who go to a resort, the better it is, and however bad the food and beds, and however flea-ridden, that inn is quaint and unspoiled. The humanistic mass man stupidly follows the crowd, and the crowd is his standard of judgment. The humanistic elite avoids the crowd and stupidly assumes that what the crowd ignores must be good. His standard, as against mass man's judgment, is private judgment, and is humanism still. God's truth is not in the picture for either as they blindly stumble towards the collapse of their culture. I may believe without any doubt that the lights will go on when I flip the switch, but the lights only go on when all is well with the power. Modern man assumes that he is the power plant. Reality, however, is not a product of man's faith in himself.